Artie was allowed to be funny on the Howard Stern show. Technically, you weren't allowed to be funny on the Howard Stern show, but you were writing all the funny lines and when they did use you on the air back in the day, it was to be like a punching bag. And I'm like, okay, I've heard that stuff over the years now, of course. And the punching bag stuff was obviously funny and entertaining and it held your interest. But I thought that Howard missed a great opportunity, which is stupid because he was successful no matter what, by not having this version of you on the air on a regular basis.
I never questioned that when I started.
You knew your role. You knew your role.
I didn't know my role. I created my role when I came on the show and it was the two of them. I wanted to make kind of worm my way in type thing, and I started giving ideas and jokes. And I had no intention of, because it doesn't work. A tinker's Devers to chance. It's a 1-2 thing. Like,
right.
That's what it is unless you have a guest. And I had no desire to pipe up. And anytime I had something very funny to say, I wrote it down and he said it. So I was really there. But the one thing that didn't work in my favor is I got picked on and got my balls broke so much. And I had a good laugh. And I would lead the charge, breaking other people's balls. That was enough to justify me being in that room. So many people had no idea that I was writing lines for Howard because that didn't gel with the guy I'm getting made fun of and
right.
make him funny as hell. To this day, you'll see people. I'm sure we'll see something. Oh, come on, Jack, he didn't write any of that stuff, or what do you write? One line a year, nobody needed him on that show. There's always going to be that,
What I love about that, and it goes back to your documentary, and I give Anthony credit today. In your documentary, he talks about how, because Anthony was a huge Howard Stern fan. Me, not so much, because I just didn't live in the New York area. I was in Western New York here and there. I was aware of Howard, and when I could, I did listen here and there. I'm not trying to say I didn't listen to him, but not on a regular basis. But in the documentary, Anthony is the one that presents the fact that Howard is this hilarious guy in the radio, and no one knew that you were writing a lot of those lines. Could Howard be funny? Yeah, of course. All right, fine. But you really pumped up his shit, and Anthony in the documentary really breaks that down for you perfectly.
It was very succinct. It was great. Everybody thought not even so much how funny he was, but how lightning quick he was.
Right.
And people were like, wow, is he quick? And that was what was crazy. When I first started and we went to mornings, I'm writing notes and give them to Howard. So Fred, realizes he wants to get on. So Fred would write something on a little scrap of paper and hand it to me.
Right.
And I'd have to rewrite it. And after a little while of that, I went and got a stack of paper and a Sharpie and put it in front of Fred. And I said, Fred, if you got an idea or a line, write it nice and big so Howard can read it. So when you pass it to me, I can pass it to him. Because by the time you pass it to me and I rewrite it and hand it to Howard, we're going 1,000,000 miles an hour. We could be past it.
Right.
And so then he started writing, not that was rocket science, but, it was tentative at first. And then all of a sudden we were like, so there weren't it wasn't just Howard's sense of humor, it was Howard's and mine and Fred's, which is, of course, 3 senses of humor better than one, but 3 completely different sense. I'm like a punchline guy, and Fred is from Pluto, and Howard's like broad strokes. It was just,
right.
An absolute great combination.